This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Back Home Media.
Everybody, welcome to another KMU podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Tsubrugge, and joining me down there in Arizona is Derek. How you doing tonight, Derek?
Doing pretty good, man. Starving. I've been waiting on a pizza for like 30 minutes. So I finally showed up about 4 minutes ago, so I've been stuffing my face.
Yeah, looks like we got Esther in the house. Hey, Esther, how you doing? Kelly, how you doing? And Chris is in the house. How you doing, Chris? And Ellen and Roxanne?
Yeah.
How's everybody doing out there tonight? Oh, Brandon just popped backstage.
Yeah.
And Double T's backstage. Man, we're rocking and rolling.
Hey, Don.
And there's Don. Hello, Mr. Tsubrugge and Mr. Relliford. And just Rick, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not old enough to be a mystery yet.
We want to touch on what happened in the NFL last night. I was watching football with my dad and mom and brother, and pretty rough situation for Damar Hamlin. Ricky was kind of telling me before the show starts, they're thinking that he got hit just right in the chest and it made him go into cardiac arrest. There's a fancy word for what happened, but I don't know it.
Yeah, I can't think of the term either. It starts with a C. That's all I can remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, they say it's when you take a blunt force shot to the chest, just at the right moment, your heart is ending one beat and starting another. Yeah. And when you take that shot at that moment, it can scramble up the electrical impulses in your heart rhythm and
commotio
cordis. That's it. Thank you, Don. But it can send you into cardiac arrest, which is what it did. Last updates I saw.
Go ahead.
So last updates I saw was from his uncle, and says that he is showing some signs of improvement. That they brought him from 100% oxygen down to 50%. They just say they have it on his stomach. It can so the lungs don't have to work so hard. So which that stands for a reason. When I had COVID, people were saying sleep on your stomach, help your lungs out. So yeah, they have him on his stomach, so his lungs don't have to work so hard. And they said he did sustain some damage to his lungs, but they don't know the extent yet. But yeah, that's a bad deal. The one positive so far that I've seen that's come out of it is he started a GoFundMe back in 2020, before he was in the NFL, to raise about $2,500 for a toy drive that he was doing. And after this happened to him, his GoFundMe is now almost up to $6 million. It's at $5,900,000 and some thousand now. I was just like blown away by that. Yeah. His NFL team has changed their profile pictures to his jersey name or jersey number and name. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
just amazing.
I hope he has a full recovery, and
me too.
It just sucks that everybody had to meet him this way. You know, he's been playing in the NFL for not that long, and yeah, she said commotio cordis, I believe it's a medical term.
Yeah. Yep. He's 24, young guy.
Way too
doing good, Kaylee. How are you doing? Yeah, definitely.
Well, let's go ahead and cover some cases. We have quite a few to get through tonight. We're going to go ahead and check back in with Salina. It looks like you've done a little revamping to the Kenny Wright check flyer.
Let's see here. Yeah, Kenny's missing from here. Line November 4th, 2019. He was 69 when he went missing. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the name Brown. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he's on disability. He's tried to access any of his money since he was last seen, and he may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around Colby. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since then. He does not have a phone, a vehicle, or a cell phone, or any identification. Excuse me. His main mode of transportation was his bicycle that he pedaled around town, pushed around town, pick up scrap metal and take it over to Salina Iron and Metal, which is now known as All Metal Recycling, and got a few extra bucks for pocket money that way. Matter of fact, I was over there today and was talking to the gal that I think she's one of the owners. Actually, she knows Kenny really well, and was telling me that the house that he was evicted from across the street from the police department, apparently, when he was evicted from there, they leveled the houses on that block and made it a parking lot for the police department. So I know which block she's talking about. So yeah, just directly north of the police department right there, there's a whole block where they've leveled it and made it a parking lot for the police department. That was where Kenny was evicted from. So that's why apparently he was evicted, according to her.
That's no good.
Yeah. But again, the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. And where I made the adjustments is I added the Crime Stoppers information. So if you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA TIPS to crimes or 274-637. Or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017. I wanted to get the Crime Stoppers information on there so that way, if by chance there's somebody out there that's got some important information regarding Kenny's case, but they don't want their name attached to it, the Crime Stoppers avenue will be a way for them to stay anonymous and still get that information in there to hopefully help get Kenny found back to where he needs to be. So that's why I did that.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any information and you're not one to submit it because you thought you had to give a name, go the Crime Stoppers route, stay anonymous, but get that information in there, please.
Yeah. Been way too long.
Yeah. I do want to share an article real quick that I saw just right before the show. This happened over in Pittsburg, Kansas. It says Kansas runaway found in the trunk of a stolen car, Pittsburgh teen arrested. Says I'm going to post this article after the show. It says 14-year-old girl who ran away from home is back with her family, and her 18-year-old boyfriend is under arrest after police say he stole his mom's car and was hiding the girl. 2 days after Christmas, Pittsburgh police took a report of a stolen car from a woman who said her son Riley Timko, 18, took the vehicle without permission. The following day, Pittsburgh Police Department received a tip that a 14-year-old runaway from Fort Scott was possibly in the area with Timko. The two were reportedly involved in a dating relationship. Now, why any 18-year-old would want to date a 14-year-old is beyond me. Then on New Year's Eve, officers with Pittsburgh Police Department found a vehicle they say matched the stolen car's description. That's where they say they found the 14-year-old runaway hiding in the trunk of the car. Police took the girl into custody for juvenile processing, and the car was returned to Timko's mother. On Monday, January 2nd, police located Timko at his mother's house in Pittsburgh and arrested him for felony contributing to a child's misconduct or deprivation. He's currently held without in the Crawford County Jail. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Just when you think you've seen it all, you see a new one.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Like I said, I just don't understand what an 18-year-old guy would want to be doing messing around with a 14-year-old girl. That just... Oh.
Yeah. You see it a lot. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good at all.
I'm glad he's sitting in jail without bond, so.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where he needs to be.
Let's talk about Joni.
Yep, I updated her flare date to reflect her birthday at some point because she was 61 when she went missing, and she is now 62. And I'm looking for, there it is. She went missing from Kansas City, Kansas on November 8th of 2022. She was 61 when she was missing. She's now 62. She's 4'9" to 5'1", 110 to 115 pounds. She has dishwater blonde hair with some gray highlights to it and blue eyes. She was last seen in the vicinity of North Washington High School area in Kansas City, wrapped in a brown blanket. She was last known to frequent Armourdale area and Western Leavenworth Road area. She is in need of medication. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 61. She's now 62. She's 4'9" to 5'1" tall and weighs between 100 and 115 pounds. She has dishwater blonde hair with gray highlights and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Joni's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-596-3000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Joni located and back to where she needs to be.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So sometime between November 8th and now, she had a birthday, and apparently she's in need of some medication. So let's see if we can't get her found so they can get her taken care of.
Yeah. That's always a big deal when somebody needs medication. Because I know me, if I went 2 days without some of my meds, I would be in big trouble.
Yep. Trisha Arnold says, I shared the feed and would ask that everyone go to YouTube and subscribe so we can get them monetized. Well, thank you, Trisha. I appreciate that. And Audra Harris says, good evening. And Chris is saying, good to see you too, Trisha. And Audra Harris is actually my ex-wife. So
Nice.
She's really supportive of what I do. And I'm really appreciative of that.
My ex-wife definitely doesn't watch this show. Tell me about Dahlia.
Alrighty.
Dayla.
Yeah, hers I just did tonight, not too long before the show. Right there. Yeah, give it to me. Thank you. She's missing from Liberal, Kansas since December 29th, 2022. She's 21. She's 5'11", weighs 199 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. And it's believed that she could still be in the Liberal area or according to bank statements in the Denver, Colorado area as of December 30th. And she's 21. She is 5'11", weighs 199 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. Excuse me. She has a tattoo on the left side of her chest and left arm. And you can see the picture there on the far right. Her ears are pierced, and she does have a horseshoe nose ring in her septum, or nose, middle of your nose there. If you have any information regarding Dayla's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Liberal, Kansas Police Department at 620-626-0140 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get her located and back home to where she needs to be. I was speaking with her sister before the show, and she approved the flyer and everything, so let's see if we can't get her found.
Yeah, it's always rough when you have a 21, somebody who's not a kid, she's 21.
Right.
She's got family worried about her.
Yeah.
But, if she has credit card activity in Denver, it could just be something as simple as maybe she decided to go to a concert or something. And she's not doing a very good job at keeping her loved ones informed on where she's at. That's what I hope. I hope she's just like on a trip, an impromptu trip, But it's been several days, so it's very concerning.
Let's hope she's safe. And scary thing about it is her bank account's being used, but without being able to, get a hold of whoever was using it and pull video to see if it was her that used it or somebody else. Just don't know.
But I know you can identify with this because you and I both share something in common where we both like celebrities and stuff like that. So I could see myself at 21 taking off and going to a concert or something, I could see myself at 21 doing that. I hope that's what it is. But yeah, it's definitely been like 4 or 5 days. That's a little scary that she hasn't talked to anybody.
Right.
So.
I see Salty Monkey's in the house and Micah Rashawn's in the house from Ulysses.
Nice.
Awesome. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Let's talk about Anthony. We haven't covered him in a while.
All right. Yeah, the only thing I think I really did for his flyer is put it on the new template. But I can't remember if I updated age or not. Okay. Anthony Patrick Senescali missing from here in Salinas since August 17th, 1987. was 36 when he went missing. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs 160 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen by his family at Jerry Ivy Park in Salina on August 17th of 1987. His wife saw him driving east on his way home from work at Beechcraft. She followed him to the park. He stopped near the restrooms and spoke to her. He was surprised to see her and told her he was not feeling well. She tried to convince him to let her drive him home, but he refused. She left him to get help from her brother. When Anthony's wife returned to the park with her brother, he was gone. His car was still parked by the restrooms, locked with his belongings inside, including his lunch, was my understanding. He did not show up for work the next day, never heard from again. Anthony's social security number, credit card, and bank accounts have not been used, and he has not contacted any of his family. He was devoted to his 2 children, and it is uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. He is originally from New York, where his parents, who are Italian immigrants, live. He had been living in Salina for about 9 years prior to his disappearance. Anthony's family fears that he became homeless. They distributed missing persons flyers in New York and in Florida, where his sister lived, but he has never been found, and his case remains unsolved. If you have any information regarding Anthony's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Anthony located, and hopefully he's doing okay and living a good life, but let's just see if we can't get him found. I mean, it's just really weird that he was, I know the area where he disappeared from, well, of course, because I live here, but I go there quite frequently because there's a really nice pond there that me and my daughters like to go check out. But I know that area very well, and every time I'm in that area, I can't stop, help but stop and think about it. This was the last place Anthony was seen. What happened to him?
Very peculiar how he wasn't feeling well and seemed surprised to see her. And she's got I don't know her, but I'm sure she has always regretted leaving him there, because obviously she never saw him again. To me, it sounds like maybe he may have been having some kind of mental problem, like maybe
I don't know. I've spoken with her a couple times, and it's still very hard for her to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. It just seems like odd behavior. And what makes me wonder if maybe because I've seen a lot of people that just people don't realize how easy it is for someone to quote unquote lose their mind. Like it happens every day. Like it just takes the right circumstances to make you kind of lose your marbles a little bit. It just sounds like, just the way the flyer reads to me, it sounds like he was worried about something. But again, I know nothing about it. I was 4 years old when this happened, but it just seems weird. The whole circumstances are weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just happened to run into her one time where she was working at. Had stopped in there, and she saw me, and she's like, "Don't you do the missing persons?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She says, "Well, I'm Anthony's wife." And I said, "Oh, okay, you're Vicky." She's like, "Yeah." We sit there and visited a little bit, and like I said, it's still hard for her to talk about it after all these years.
Yeah, I believe it. That's rough. It's been a long time ago. I was a little kid when that happened.
Right.
Let's talk about Jaquella.
Okay.
It looks like the age progression.
Jakia Yvonne Scales. Yeah, that was the most recent one that just came out not too long ago, actually. She missed from Wichita, Kansas on September 5th of 2001. She was 4 when she went missing. She's now 25. She's 3 foot tall, 40 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. She was last seen in bed in her Wichita, Kansas residence in the 1600 block of North Volusia Street, near 15th and Hillside Streets at approximately 12:30 a.m. on September 5th, 2001. She was discovered missing at 3 a.m. She has never been heard from again. There were no signs of forced entry to the residence, no indication of a struggle, and the family's dog had not barked that night. The back door was broken at the time of Jakia's disappearance, and therefore was not locked. She lived with her mother, Eureka Scales, her younger brother, 2 uncles, and her maternal great-grandmother, Maddie Mitchell, at the time of her disappearance, and had no contact with her father. And because her mother Eureka was only 14 years old when she had Jakia, she asked Mitchell to have custody. Jakia started preschool the day before her disappearance. That night, her mother was staying with a friend, and Mitchell had charge of the children. Social workers removed Jakia's younger brother from their home and placed him in the custody of the Kansas Department of Social Rehabilitation and Services, or SRS, which is now known as DCF. Shortly after Jakia disappeared, due to concern about living conditions in the residence and about Jakia's disappearance, the boy was not returned to his mother's care until August of 2004, almost 3 years later. Police are not sure whether or not Jakia was abducted. Her mother believes she is still alive. Eureka said her daughter was a very talkative child in 2001 and liked to wear colorful barrettes in her hair. Her favorite toy was a doll that could turn over by itself. Jakia's case does remain unsolved. And if you have any information regarding Jakia's disappearance, or you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita Police Department at 316-268-4646 or 316-268-4220 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Jakia located and back to her family.
Sheesh. That's the worst thing to imagine. Your 4-year-old baby disappears.
Yeah.
And this is something that's just something I just noticed. But if you're Jakia's family, she goes missing on September 5th. And that was probably a really big deal on September 5th. But 6 days later, 9/11 happened. And I'm sure Jakia probably got put on the back burner, like everything, like the world stopped, like it wasn't just a normal business day. So like, I think it's rough that it happened that close to 9/11 when everything just kind of stopped for a while we all tried to gather our bearings. But, people don't think about that. Like all the police work that happens every day on a daily basis that probably stopped on 9/11 for a while, when we were under attack, so I couldn't imagine losing your child and then 6 days later something so monumental happening that nobody can really pay attention to your problem anymore because it's a global problem going on,
Yeah.
But she thinks that she's still alive. When I see cases like this, you think about people who can't have children. And so they'll steal a child. And as horrible as that is, that's a horrible thing to do. I don't think that's okay at all. But in most of those cases, the kid has an okay life. Like they're not wanting to hurt a child. They just want to have a child.
Right.
Which is a silver lining considering the alternative of hurting a child. So I don't know. I hope in cases like this that at least that they were taken care of and that they're still alive, and then maybe they'll because how many times have you heard of people seeing age progression photo and like that looks like me, and then they find out that they were kidnapped
several times over the years actually. So it's not beyond the realm of impossibility that she's still out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I hope for. So this is a flyer. Yeah, you sent me a link to this on I think Saturday or Sunday. Tell me about this case. This is like a really, really big ordeal.
Oops. Genevieve Peterson, Camden Peterson, and Rosie Peterson. They're missing from Junction City since December 21st of this year. Genevieve is 3. She's 2 foot tall, 30 pounds, brown hair and blue eyes. Camden's 4 years old. He is 2 foot tall, 35 pounds, brown hair and blue eyes. And Rosie is 6 years old, and she's 3 foot tall, 45 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. It's believed that they're with her mother. I don't know if it's Gina or Gianna Louise Peterson, and she might be using her maiden name Foley. My understanding is from talking to the dad that they have joint custody, but he has residential, meaning they live with him. And she has visitations once a week and every other weekend. And apparently she's taken him somewhere without his permission, which violates the visitation order. So that's why the flyer. Genevieve, she's 3. She's 2 foot tall, weighs 30 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. Camden's 4 years old. He's 2 foot tall, weighs 35 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. Rosie is 6 years old. She's 3 foot tall and 45 pounds, has blonde hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Genevieve, Camden, and Rosie's disappearance, or you know of their whereabouts, please call the Junction City, Kansas Police Department at 785-762-5912 or 785-762-8477 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get these kids located and back to where they need to be. And the link I sent you, WW News in Topeka actually picked up on this flyer and has reported it on their news station as well.
I saw that. That's really cool that they used it.
Yeah. Yep. And they credited Kansas Missing and Unsolved by saying Kansas Missing and Unsolved reports that the 3 children from Junction City were reported missing on December 21st. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I happened to run across it in my Google on my phone one day, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. It still surprises me whenever I see anything to do with Kansas Missing used in the news, even after 10 years.
Happens a lot, man. Let's talk about Clinton Nelson. It's an older case.
Yep. It is missing from Princeton, Louisiana since September 1st of 2006. He's 21 when he was missing. He's now 37, 6'1", 160 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. He was last seen at approximately 8:30 p.m. on September 1st, 2006, leaving a party at a friend's residence in the vicinity of the 800 block of Ward Lane and Highway 80 in Princeton, Louisiana. His father called him, and Nelson said he'd seen police lights on the area and thought police were chasing him. He has never been heard from again. Clinton was carrying a cell phone, which is a flip phone style phone at the time, and wallet when he went missing. Neither of those have been located, and there has not been any activity on his cell phone since he vanished. Clinton lived with his father in Houghton, Louisiana at the time of his disappearance and was working on an oil rig. His family stated he was behaving normally prior to vanishing and is out of character for him to be out of touch with them. He was last known to be wearing a t-shirt, blue jeans, black knit cap, new red and white DC sneakers with red trim, a new black leather belt, and white ankle socks with gray bottoms. He had been diagnosed with a heart condition. He may have been taking medication at the time of his disappearance. Authorities and Clinton's family believe he is dead, and his family has offered a reward for the recovery of his remains. If you have any information regarding Clinton's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, Bossier County, Louisiana Sheriff's Office at 318-965-2203 and see if we can't help get Clinton located and back home to his family.
Wow, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Flip phone. There you go.
Yeah.
Sign
I
of
used
the
to have one of
times.
those a long time ago.
Yeah. Me too, man. Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce.
All right. She is missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She would now be 37. She is 5'2", weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She had left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned to the babysitter's house at midnight and gave her more money and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana had been seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man she was with that night. He had traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have any credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She's 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots and black at the ends with red highlights and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. She has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She's blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced 1 time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or their toll-free number is 866-362-6422. And see if we can't get Dana located and back home to her family. I know they're looking high and low for and have been for a very, very long time. So let's see if we can get her found and back to them.
Yeah. Her teenage kids deserve to know.
Yeah. Definitely.
Let's come out here to my neck of the woods, Glendale, Arizona, right down the road from me. And this has been going on for a long time.
Yep. Alicia Christian Navarro, missing from Glendale, Arizona since September 15, 2019. She was 14 when she went missing. She would now be 18. She's 4'5", weighs 95 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. It was discovered that chairs were pushed up to a fence in the backyard of the family home. Footprints believed to be Alicia's were found on both sides of the fence. A note left behind by Alicia said, "I ran away. I will be back. I swear. I'm sorry, Alicia." She did not take her cell phone and she did take her cell phone and her silver Apple MacBook, but did not take the chargers for either one. She took a comic book with her that she wanted, but never read. It was believed that she probably wanted it for somebody else, I believe is what I'd read. And it was a very expensive comic book too. She'd been diagnosed as high functioning on the autism spectrum. She also suffers from high anxiety issues and has a compromised immune system. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 14. She's now 18. She's 4'5" and weighs 95 pounds. She has long brown hair and brown eyes. She does wear braces and may be wearing the above right pictured sweatshirt, which is that white one there. She does like to wear sweatshirts even in Arizona. So if you have any information regarding Alicia's disappearance, you know of her whereabouts, please call the Glendale, Arizona Police Department at 623-930-3000 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678. There is a $20,000 reward for information leading to Alicia's safe return. So if any information, bring her back home. There's 20,000 reasons to do so right there. So let's see if we can't find her and get her home. And I did add that age progression not too awful long ago to that. That's the most recent one. The one on the far left there. And Ellen saying, this is in regard to Dana Bruce. Ellen saying the guy in the red truck told the truth that they did part ways at the bar.
Really?
Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that little bit of information there.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a fact. Tonight's featured case, Heather Berry from my old stomping grounds, Garden City, Kansas. Ricky's going to tell you all about it.
Did that one literally right before the show. She's moved from Garden City, Kansas since January 2nd of this year. She's 16. She's 4'7" to 4'11". She weighs between 90 and 100 pounds. And has brown hair and blue eyes. She was last seen in the area of 2410 D Avenue in Garden City. She left her residence in an unknown clothing description. She was reportedly in communication with a friend who may live in Wichita. Again, she's 16 years old. She's 4'7" to 4'11", weighs between 90 and 100 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Heather's disappearance, or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Garden City, Kansas Police Department at 620-276-1300 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Heather located and back to where she needs to be.
On the I saw this on the Facebook like gossip page where people talk and stuff, and somebody had tagged Annette, and she ended up making like her version of what she does, and then somebody had made like a snide remark in the comments. They were like, are you going to investigate what was going on at home, or are you just going to find Heather and send her back into a bad place? And
I saw that comment. Yeah.
I saw that it looked like Heather's guardian maybe made a comment next, and she's basically what I gathered from it is that Heather may be in the foster system, and she was saying that they were all getting along, minus I guess there's some other children that live in the same house where Heather was living, and she said minus like average 16-year-old girls bickering at each other about stuff. She said they were getting along fine. So she was like, I don't know what you were insinuating by what was going on at the house, but she's like, everything seemed to be okay. So I'm kind of looking at maybe she was talking to somebody in Wichita, like you said. But anyway, I mean, she's 16. This isn't the way to go about things. She needs I know that the woman who is claiming on Facebook to be her guardian is very worried. So
right. And she actually has the distinction of being my first 2023 case that I've done.
Oh, really?
Yep. Everything else I've done today has been 2022 and prior updates. And yeah. Yeah. And Salty Monkey kind of reaffirms what you were saying that her foster mother was commenting on Facebook and saying she was a very happy girl and had a great Christmas. So, yeah. I saw that comment as well on Garden City's police department page.
Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully they can find her and get her back home. She can finish, going to school and doing everything she needs to do. This is a case that is on KMUpod.com. This is a case we've been covering for a while. He's going to tell you all about Charles McEverett Henry III.
He's missing Bend, Kansas since May 2016. He was 27 when he went missing. He's now 34. He is 6'2", weighs 180 pounds, has black hair, black eyes. He was last known to be driving an unknown make two-door black car away from her house in the 500 block of Northwest 20 Avenue between Hoisington and Great Bend. In the time of his disappearance, he was 27. He's now 34, 6'2", 180, black hair, black eyes. Last known to be wearing a black T-shirt and denim shorts. He does have tattoos on his left arm. One is of the cross, and it says Tyler on his upper arm. And an eagle with a flag on the lower arm. You can see him up there in the pictures above. His eyebrow and left ear are pierced. He has a large scar near his left knee, a large scar on the right arm from the elbow to the wrist, a scar on his right knee, a scar on his forehead, scars on both sides of his ribs, a scar on the bottom of the left foot, and a dip on his left bicep. He has a plate in his right arm from elbow to wrist and 2 screws in his left knee. If you have any information regarding Charles's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call the Great Bend, Kansas Police Department at 620-793-4120 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Charles located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that cross with the wings and right there on arm, and that other nice tattoo on his arm. A lot of work done.
Yeah, hopefully they can find him. It's been a while. Great Bend's a small little town,
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jackie Hay. We've talked about this maybe 6 months ago. We covered her case.
Yeah.
This is an older one.
Yeah. Okay, she's missing from Topeka, Kansas since September 12th, 1981. She was 5 when she went missing. She's now 46. She is 3'6", weighs 45 pounds, has blonde hair and blue eyes. Again, her name is Jackie Danae Hay. She disappeared after going out to play with her step-siblings and other children in the front yard of their home in the 3100 block of Southeast Colfax in Topeka, Kansas. Eventually, all the other children went inside, leaving her alone. Her family was getting ready to go to a house that they were building south of Topeka when they discovered she was missing at about 4 o'clock that afternoon on September 12th. She was last seen walking away from the Colfax and Golf Park near Southeast 31st and Bryan, about 1 block east of her home. She was apparently being followed by a man at the time. She's never been heard from again. Authorities did not begin searching for Jackie for 4 hours after her disappearance was reported. Police picked up a local man that same night who matched the description of the man seen following Jackie. They questioned him for hours about her disappearance, but ultimately released him without charges. Jackie has freckles across the bridge of her nose and one small freckle between her right thigh and pelvis. She has a small cavity between her upper front teeth. She has a small scar along her right eyebrow. Her hair was cut. Her hair was cut in a Dutch boy style at the time of her disappearance. If you have any information regarding Jackie's disappearance, or you know her whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or at KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can't get Jackie located and back to her family. It's been quite some time.
I don't, it's a different time. 1981 was a different time. I just don't imagine me being anybody in charge, a mother coming up to me and saying my 5-year-old's missing and me being like, let's wait a little while. You know what I mean? Granted, it was a long time ago. Who knows? Back in the day, you had to be the whole 24 hours. But to me, it's just like 5 years old missing in 2023 standards. That's like Amber Alerts go out in minutes, if a 5-year-old's missing, So it's just crazy. I'm glad that things have changed, but, it's sad that she was missing for hours before they started looking for her,
Yep.
I mean, and not to justify waiting to go search for a teen. I mean, because I could see how they could say like a teenager might have ran away, like they used to say, but a 5-year-old running away, it's just like, okay, we got to find this kid, Let's talk about this flyer. It's 2 people missing from Manhattan on the same day.
Yep, Stevie Scott Hammerly and Joseph Grashner, excuse me. Let's see, they're missing from Manhattan, Kansas since August 22nd, 1981, another 1981 case. Stevie was 26 when he went missing. He's now 67. He is 5'10" to 6 foot tall, weighs 165 pounds, has light brown or blonde hair and blue eyes. Joe was 21 when he went missing. He'd now be 62. And this was a couple of blanks I got to fill in that I didn't have before. He's 5'9", weighs 160 pounds, has light brown or blonde hair and blue eyes as well. They went missing from a birthday party in the 1000 block. Appointed individuals from the party. These individuals were not at the party. They showed up later. Stevie was paralyzed from the waist down and confined to a wheelchair. Stevie has no upper teeth as they were removed due to cluster headaches. He has tattoos of Love Lisa across his knuckles and a small eagle tattoo on his upper right arm and a devil driving on his left forearm. The investigation into Steve Hammerly and Joseph Grashner's disappearance is actively being investigated by the Riley County, Kansas Police Department, and foul play is strongly suspected in their case. If you have any information regarding the disappearances of Stevie Hammerly and Joseph Grashner, please call the Riley County, Kansas Police Department at 785-537-2112 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get these 2 men located and back to their families.
Wow.
Yep. When I first did this flyer, I was just strictly Stevie, and then more information came to light about Joe, and then I was able to get some of the information. Like I said, I was not able at the time to get height and weight. No matter where I looked on Charlie Project, they had everything but that. NamUs had everything but that. And just today, by chance, I looked at KBI, and he was on KBI finally, and I was like, okay, do they have his height and weight? And I looked, and like, lo and behold. So I was able to fill in those blanks of height and weight. I was ecstatic to do that today.
That's just a very bizarre case.
Yeah. Yeah. Very bizarre case. And I'll have to remember to send this flyer to Stevie's daughter because I'm friends with her on Facebook and have talked to her a lot over there about Stevie's case. Stevie and Joe.
Yeah.
And she's still doing her darndest to find Stevie and Joe. I do know that.
Let's talk about Angela Green.
Okay. When I updated today as far as age now and reposted it, and I saw a comment on there asking what's the update, and I can't remember the rest of the comment, but it had to do with, the husband being guilty or whatever. But I said, well, there's really nothing new to report, or how did I phrase it? I said, even when there's nothing new to report, I at least like to update the age now. It helps. It still helps. It lets them know another year has gone by without them being found, and it also keeps the case in people's minds as well. So, that's a lot of the reason that even if I'm just updating an age now, that's why I do it. It lets people know another year's gone by, lets them know, hey, this case still needs attention. Bottom line. But anyway, Angela Green's missing from Prairie Village, Kansas, is June 19th of 2019. She was 51 when she went missing. She is now 55. She's 5'9", weighs 116 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. There have been conflicting reports as to what happened to, as well as where Angela is. Angela's daughter was told by her dad that Angela had passed away in July of a stroke, but she is not sure of this or any other claims. Her daughter Ellie has done a lot of investigating on her own. She's not been able to track down a death certificate, any kind of information as to where she may have been buried or whatever, anything like that. None of that information she's been able to find. So she's just pretty much believing that her dad's just not being honest, basically. Police have gotten some conflicting statements about her whereabouts that are a little concerning to them as well. They are working her case as a missing persons investigation and are working with several other agencies to try to locate her. I know they've done searches at least 2 different residences to try to find her and haven't found anything. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 51. She's now 55. She's 5'9", weighs 116 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Angela's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Prairie Village, Kansas Police Department at 913-642-6868 or the Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline at 816-474-8477. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Angela located and back to Ellie, because I know Ellie is really looking for her, and the rest of Angela's family is looking for her, trying to find her as well. So let's see if we can't get her found and back home.
Yeah. It is pretty odd to just have somebody tell you your mom died, but there's no evidence of it,
Yeah. He first tried to say she had passed away, and then she was in a mental institution somewhere, and supposedly she had met up with the people from the mental hospital parking lot, and they took her from there to the mental hospital, and just all kinds of weird stuff that he'd told Ellie.
Wow. Odd.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Gina Cyphers. Looks like this one has a reward on it.
Yeah, this is our cold case of. Let's see. Gina Bridget Cyphers. She was 24 with an infant son. By all accounts, she was a loving mother and a good person. On December 28, 1995, Gina dropped off her 15-month-old son at a daycare program called Morning Out for Moms at a Salina church. When she did not return a couple hours later, daycare called Gina's boyfriend at work. He went to the mobile home they shared and found the young woman brutally murdered. The baby was suddenly without a mom, and police were left with a case that has proven to be a tough one. There was a crowded mobile home park in the heart of the city with trailers that were close together. The violence happened sometime between 9 o'clock in the morning and noon. Still, all these years later, Gina Cyphers' murder remains unsolved. And I can tell you that mobile home park is no longer. It's been completely leveled. There's nothing there but an empty lot now. Initial news reports said that she was stabbed, but police are still keeping a lot of details secret. They say there have been a lot of leads that have gone nowhere. If you have any information on Gina's death, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or call Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, where you can text SA tips to crimes or 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit your tip. You may receive a cash reward of up to $1,000, and you're not required to give your name. Or you can call the KBI at 1-800-572-7463. In addition to the $1,000 Crime Stoppers reward, there's a governor's reward of $5,000 available for the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for Gina's death as well. So you actually got two rewards going on there. So
Yeah.
see if we can't get that information in there that will help solve this case and bring a killer to justice.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Salina's a big town, man.
It's barely 50,000 people, but I mean,
but I'm from Elkhart.
yeah.
I mean, it's like when I say Salina's a big town, like there's a lot of notable cases from that little area.
There is, yeah.
A lot of stuff's happened there, man.
Oh my Lord! Somebody delete those X-Girls XYZ comments, please. It says new adult dating chat free. Somebody get rid of those. They're on YouTube.
I blocked it.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I've seen comments like that on the Kansas Missing and Unsolved page, and it's just blowing my mind. I saw one the other day that a female posted talking about letting you into her fantasies or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're deleted.
Yeah.
This is not the place for that. See, I wouldn't want to be you.
Let's talk about Megan Fogelsong. Yeah, it's inappropriate.
Megan Fogelsong. Okay, she is missing from Alden, Kansas since December 2015. She was 21 when she was missing. She's now 28. She's 5'4", weighs 150 pounds, sandy blonde hair and green eyes. Her last activity on Facebook was November 30th of 2015. And initially there was an unconfirmed sighting around Christmas time 2015. A guy's liquor and Larned. I was told that it ended up not being her. At the time of Megan's disappearance, she was 21. She would now be 28. She's 5'4" and weighs around 150 pounds. Her weight does fluctuate. She has sandy blonde hair she does dye occasionally and has green eyes. She wears glasses but does have contact lenses. She has a tattoo on her left hip of a flower design pictured far right. She also has a picture on her left wrist of a heart design, kind of the infinity with a heart around it that says thick, thin, and a tattoo on her upper right chest, both pictured above in the second photo from the right. She also has a tattoo on her outer left calf of a dream catcher. We all know, we've heard about David Madden possibly involved in her disappearance, and that he's no longer with us. He had gone to his dad's house and for whatever reason killed his dad, and was in a high-speed chase with sheriff's deputies, and they managed to run him off the road at some point. And when they went to approach his car to apprehend him, he shot himself and is no longer with us. So whatever information he had regarding Megan's disappearance or whatever he did to her, it went to the grave with him. But if there is anybody out there that does have any kind of information that David may have given them at some point regarding Megan, please call the Rice County, Kansas Sheriff's Department at 620-257-7876 or 620-257-2363 or KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't get Megan found and back to her family. I know they would really have her back so they can, if she is no longer with us, that they could at least give her, a decent burial, a decent place to rest.
So she's missing since November, December of 2015. When did Madden die?
Let me look and see here if I can find that real fast. I can't remember how many years ago that's been now. I just know when I read it, I was just somewhat shell shocked because it was like, any information that he had went away with him.
Yeah.
Looks like April 30th of 2019.
Okay. So 4 years later.
So yeah. And the only reason I can think of that he would have killed his dad before doing it to himself was maybe he did tell his dad what he did, but he didn't want his dad to reveal it. Maybe I mean that's speculation on my part, but it's the only thing I could come up with that would be a reason for him to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Senseless, whatever it was.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about it a lot since it happened, and so the only conclusion I can come up with that he would do that.
3 people are gone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Cole Firestein.
He's actually going to be an upcoming cold card case. He was specific, so. Cole Daniel Firestein, missing from Leavenworth, Kansas since March 15th, 2019. So we'll do him again in March. He was 24 when he went missing. He's now 28. He is 5'8", weighs 300 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. He is legally blind when not wearing his glasses. He had no ID on him at the time of his disappearance. He had previously lived in Atchison, Kansas, and had been living in Leavenworth for about 2 weeks before he vanished. At the time of his disappearance, he was 24. He would now be 28. He's 5'8", weighs 300 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. He was last known to be wearing a South Pole brand navy blue jacket with red and white stripes down the side and arms, jeans, and may not be wearing shoes. If you have any information regarding Cole's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Leavenworth, Kansas Police Department at 913-651-2260 or 913-682-4211. Or the Clue hotline at 913-682-2583, or KBI at 1-800-572-7463, and see if we can help get Cole located and back home where he needs to be.
Yeah, young guy.
Yeah. It's sad.
Yeah. Let's talk about Donald Irwin.
All right. This is one they just updated. What? Because it was on the blue. Donald Lee Irwin, missing from Camden County, Missouri since December 29, 2013. He was 59 when he went missing. He's now 68. He's 5'8", weighs 190 pounds, has brown hair that's starting to gray, and brown eyes. He woke his wife up around 6 a.m. to ask her for a gift card so he could go get some cigarettes. He was using his crutches that morning. He said good morning to his neighbor, got in his car, which is a 2002 silver four-door Hyundai Elantra, which is similar to the one on the flyer there. Has a sunroof and a large wooden cross hanging from the rearview mirror. Has Missouri license plate MK6E3P. He was going to a convenience store less than 5 miles away. He never arrived at that store, and the gift card has never been used. Donnie and his car remain missing. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 59. He would now be 68. He's 5'8", weighs 190 pounds. He has long brown gray hair and brown eyes. His left leg is amputated above his knee, and he does not use a prosthetic leg. He was last known to be wearing a light blue shirt, blue jeans, and one gray loafer. He has a scar on his left arm from elbow to wrist from a broken arm. He has a blood disorder which requires daily blood thinners and suffers from COPD and depression, which also requires daily medication. If you have any information regarding Donnie's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, or you see his car, please call the Camden County, Missouri Sheriff's Office at 573-346-2243, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free 866-362-6422. And see if we can't get Donnie found and back home to his family.
Nope. That's in my bedroom. Ooh. In my room.
Sorry about my daughter there.
Okay.
Her boyfriend's over and she was talking to him.
Uh-huh. We got 3 cases left. Let's go ahead and talk about Star Boomer.
Okay. All right. She is missing from Kansas City, Kansas since February 23rd, 1999. She was 39 when she went missing. She's now 62. She is 5'4" to 5'5", weighs 140 pounds. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. Star visited Uncle Mike's, now called Nobody's Business, in Kansas City, Kansas, near her own residence on February 23rd, 1999. She went there with a roommate, Carolyn Marshall. Marshall stated while they were at the bar, a male stranger walked up to Boomer and threw her off a bar stool for no apparent reason and without speaking to her. Star got up and insisted she was all right, and her attacker was forced to leave the bar. Marshall left after finishing her drink. She asked the bartender to keep an eye on Star, who she had planned to pick up later on. When Marshall called the bar later that day, she was told Boomer had already left with 2 men. She's never been heard from again. Witnesses at the establishment told authorities that she was involved in an altercation with another patron during the evening. This individual is to believe a career criminal with a violent history of violent behavior towards women. He allegedly knocked her to the ground and beat her, causing her to lose consciousness. She's never been heard from again. Authorities believe she may have been murdered in the bar and her body hidden in another location. In October 1999, 2 local men, William Eugene Gino Spradlin and Robert Franklin Butch Horn, were charged with second-degree murder in Starr's case. Both suspects have extensive criminal histories and have served time in prison. The murder charges were later dismissed because over a dozen witnesses to the alleged crime refused to testify against the defendants. Her case remains unsolved. Foul play is suspected in Starr's disappearance due to the circumstances involved. If you have any information regarding Gail's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City Police Department at 913-573-6010. That's the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. Or 913-596-3000. Or the KBI at 1-800-572-7463. And the state of Kansas is offering a $5,000 governor's reward for information leading to the arrest or prosecution of the person responsible for what happened to Starr. So see what we can do to help get her found and maybe even bring somebody to justice in the process, which would be nice.
Yeah. I hate that people are scared to talk.
Yeah. And Kelly is saying thank you for covering Star and Megan again. You're welcome, Kelly. And Ellen says thank you for covering Dana Bruce every week. You're welcome, Ellen.
Let's talk about Dietrich Foster.
Alrighty. He is missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12th, 2020. He was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th. He was last seen around April 12th in Independence. KBI and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon their findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Dietrich was 37. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or KBI at 785-296-4017. And again, there's a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So if you have that information, get it called in. Let's see if we can't get him found and, back to his family.
Yeah. I like to see the rewards, I like to see people, get a little bit of an incentive to make a call.
Right.
And then finally, we have Alexander Perez. We're going to talk about him.
All right. It's Kansas since 2020. He was 35 when he went missing. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He called a family member on December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. He has not been heard from or seen by family or friends since then, and he had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in Garden City, Kansas, or the surrounding area. In the time of his disappearance, he's 35. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. He has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. He has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If anybody has any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or KBI at 785-296-4017. Let's see if we can't get Alex found and back to his family, because there again, this, looking hard and everywhere to bring their loved one home.
Yeah.
If anybody sees or talks to Irene Perez's mom, let her know we're still, covering him every show. Let her know we're still trying.
And then here's the voicemail that was sent on December 6, 2020.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down there. It's been crazy. I've been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. It's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
Wow. And GC being Garden City. This is crazy. Every time I hear that call, it's just kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's a prelude to what happened, or maybe he's laying low so nothing else does happen. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I know his family's really wanting some answers. It's been too long.
Yeah. Well, if anybody has any cases they want us to cover, or they run across any that they see out there anywhere that they think we should cover, message them to me. Kansas Missing and Unsolved page. Go to KMU.com, and there's a submission form there as well. Or you can email them to Kansas Missing and Unsolved at yahoo.com. So there's multiple ways to get it to me so I can get flyers made and get it covered on the show. There's a lot of people that do that. Matter of fact, that's how I learned about Dayla Smith that we did tonight. That's how I learned about her. Somebody messaged and the link to her sister's post about it. Derek actually let me know about Heather Berry. He asked me if I'd seen it, which I had not yet, because I've been working on other things for the show and other flyers. But yeah, if you have any other cases you want us to talk about or cover, you see anything out there that you think I can possibly help out with, let me know. And I'll do what I can.
Yeah. Oh, we have a located safe we're gonna play for you real quick before we get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Made by Brandon. 1 second.
Yeah. Always good to see those located safe rails. I didn't see one on there that I sent you, though. Lamaya Schaefer. I didn't see hers on there. I could have swore I sent that.
I'll have to check my
Yeah,
email.
because Lamaya Schaefer was located. Her mom posted she was found, and I spoke to her on Messenger a little bit about it. And the time I spoke to her, she actually hadn't had a chance to see Lamaya yet, but I did see tonight where she posted pictures of her and Lamaya together since she's been found. So
Nice.
that was good to see. I'm glad that because she's been missing since September. I think her mom says like 109 days she was missing.
Sheesh.
Oh, Dawn said she saw it, so I must have just missed it. Okay. To see it was found. That was one that I was really concerned about because it had been missing in September. There was nothing ever coming out, no sightings, no tips, no nothing. And so I don't even know how or where or she was found or anything. I don't know any details other than I'm just glad she was.
Yeah. For sure.
And hopefully everybody had a starting off 2023. It's crazy. So I guess I could technically say we haven't done a show since last year.
Right.
Right. Well, with that, Dawn said she was elated when she learned she'd been found. Yep, I hope all goes well for her in the future as well, Dawn. But with that, I just want to say, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together to go over these cases tonight. And hopefully we get some missing people home and get some of these unsolved homicides that we talked about. And just pray that these flyers hit the right ears with the right heart and will do the right thing. And, just call in any way they can, and get that information in there. That's all we pray for every show. And I just pray it happens. And until we see each other, is it next Thursday, I believe? Yes, next Thursday. You guys stay safe. And I'm glad everybody's made it through the new year. God bless and amen.